You know, there's been a lot of discourse over the last few days over Modern Warfare 2019. And you guys know my stance on this. Like I mean I love campaigns and that's it. I don't got to repeat it over and over again, but it's the truth. So I don't know necessarily what goes on in the multiplayer world or the gunplay. Does it feel fast? Does it feel smooth? Does it, TTK? Like I don't know. So I want to just kind of throw my hat in here and have a conversation with you guys very casually. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to talk because I actually feel that without Modern Warfare 2019, I don't know if I would have come back to Call of Duty fully in terms of the campaign and everything like that. Now, I grew up idolizing Call of Duty. It was one of those games to me that was like, wow, Call of Duty, it feels amazing. It's like one of those games, like I could have any game, but I really wanted Call of Duty. I wanted to play multiplayer. I wanted to be fast and get these camos and prestige and get, go to school and be like, yeah, dog, I got prestige 4 or I'm prestige master. I wanted that. You know what I mean? And it's when you're younger, that's kind of the stuff that you want. So I grew up playing multiplayer. Every game in the betweens, like 2010s all the way to 2018, I played all of those Call of Duties and I played the multiplayer basically only. We've talked about it here on this channel. I went back to play all of these campaigns and we did the lores and the story because I never played them. I only would buy the Call of Duty, or my dad would buy me the Call of Duty, and I'd play multiplayer right off the bat because I wanted to level up faster than my uncle, or I wanted to level up really quick and say that I was high level. So that's all I cared about. And that was it. It was like simpler times. You would just turn it on and you'd play. And honestly, the only settings you had to worry about was how fast the sensitivity was. And that was it. So I played that heavily as the years progressed. I always loved story game modes. It was like one of my favorite things in video games. It is my favorite thing in video games, actually, with open world stuff or just exploring different worlds and kind of immersing myself in that stuff. That is my true love when it comes to gaming. But the multiplayer stuff was always part of my life because I played heavily with my uncle, and I still do to this day. We always play Call of Duty, and when we all get together, it's just a fun time to just talk shit. So it wasn't really like I loved multiplayer so much, but it was like we all always played it. It's like a yearly thing. We just almost fucking bought it no matter what, and we'd play it. So I do remember that there came a point where things started to get a little bit ridiculous. You had Advanced Warfare, you had Infinite Warfare, and then you had Black Ops 4, even Black Ops 3, where it was just very futuristic and jetpacks and, climbing walls, and everything was getting so crazy, out in space, and people started feeling like this fatigue. People started feeling tired of that shit. They were like, you know what? This is too much. And I remember those conversations happening. I remember my uncle telling me at the time, like, yo, what the fuck? What are these jetpacks? What is all this stuff? Because it created like a different dynamic for gaming. Like it created a different dynamic for that competitive play, and it maybe even became harder and more difficult sometimes. It was just really, really hard, and it felt like ridiculous to some people. Personally, I enjoyed some of them, and sometimes I was like, okay, you know what? It would be better. It would be cooler if we went back to something like Modern Warfare 3, because I remember that multiplayer was really fun for me. I really had a good time that year. So I thought, well, maybe if we got rid of all this jumping stuff and all this futuristic things, we can go back to something like MW3. So there was this like big want for that to return, and then you had World War II come back when they tried to revert back to some grittiness, go back to what made them famous, and it really didn't click as much. People felt that the story was maybe a bit too short. People felt that it was a little bit generic. You didn't have some of the more realistic historical signs out there that you could have or should have had, and people just felt that it felt like a Hollywood blockbuster movie showing one side of the war instead of multiple aspects of the war. And so people were disappointed in that, and it was like a harsh cut, I think, from the very futuristic space stuff to World War II setting. Again, I don't know if it really hit the way people wanted it to hit. And then you had something like Black Ops 4, right? I mean, at that point, when it came out, it didn't have a campaign. I know a lot of people really fucking pissed off about that. I mean, everybody was complaining about the campaigns and them not being as good or things like that. But then when Black Ops 4 came out and there was no campaign, I know a lot of you guys must have been very, very fucking mad. And I know and remember that there was a big conversation around that and why that wasn't the case. People felt that they were doing way too many microtransactions, way too many loot boxes, and that's what they really wanted. So they were like, fuck the campaign, let's just make more money. Well, then you had the blackout mode come out and it was like, okay, this is different. I kind of see what they're trying to do, but they were like following instead of trying to innovate or trying to do something different. You had Fortnite coming out with all these things. So it's like, okay, well, we got to have some sort of battle royale mode too. Let's do Blackout. And it just felt very different. It didn't feel Call of Duty. And I think at that point, like the fan base got so fucking divided into all of these different things where it's like some people want some realism or wants to go maybe back to Modern Warfare. Other people kind of like the faster futuristic gameplay stuff, but not enough to keep it going. And then, again, people were getting really pissed off with the yearly releases, just kind of impacting the games. Like, okay, you can't even make the campaign. You're doing yearly releases, but you can't even give us a campaign. So that means you guys don't have enough time. Call of Duty wasn't like super duper failing or anything like that because they've always made money. They've always sold, but I think their reputation was in the fucking toilet. If you think their reputation was bad now, I think they were kind of losing it. It's like, what are they? There's no clarity here. There's no direction. We don't know what's coming next. It was a really hard time then. And so I kind of felt the thing around the pandemic, maybe right a little bit before the pandemic, where I kind of didn't lose my love for gaming, but I wasn't playing story mode games anymore. I wasn't playing much at all. And this was a time where I was watching like more gameplay videos, and I really don't watch a lot. I'm very centered on what I watch. I watch one person, and that's usually it. And so I was watching Hollow Point, and I've been a fan of Hollow for a long time, and he started playing the Call of Duty campaigns. And I remember he played the first mission of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. And I was mesmerized by it. I was blown away. I said, wow, this looks incredible. I was like, what? This is Modern Warfare 2019, huh? I said, I have the game. I've never played the campaign ever. I haven't even, you know what I mean? Like, I remember it was like, okay, this is like a cool little game. Play the multiplayer just like I had every other year. It was fine. But at that point, I was kind of checked out with Call of Duty. Only reason I played it was just to talk to my uncle and us play together. By myself and stuff like that, I couldn't care less. I didn't play it. I didn't, nothing. I never explored anything of the campaigns or lore either for them. So when I saw that video and I saw how good it looked in that first mission, I wanted to try it out. So I came back and I played it myself, and I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away by how good the campaign was, by how realistic, by how gritty it felt. It felt like I was, watching a movie, playing one of the movies that I have here, and it was such a different campaign. It felt real, it felt gritty, it felt grounded, it felt like it was dealing with real things. The actors behind it were fantastic, the cinematics were amazing, the story campaigns and the way they were crafted was with a lot of love. Modern Warfare returned back to form, I think, in the campaign. Gave you this modern setting, gave you that kind of grounded gameplay that you wanted. It introduced the new engine. It had like a very fucking good campaign, and you kind of just felt the sound design was also incredible. I think at the time Call of Duty, like I said, wasn't dead, but it was divided, and it was very frustrating to be a fan of Call of Duty. And then Modern Warfare 2019 came out, and it was like, wow, it kind of gave the franchise a center, and now let's go from there, right? And if they did was good or the stuff they introduced was bad, I don't really know. I'm just looking at the campaign, right? But some would say that it had a very big impact because when MW19 dropped, it made like 600 mil in 3 days. It became the best-selling game of 2019. Had the biggest COD launch of the console generation, and it became the highest first-year selling Call of Duty ever. And you could say, well, it had a massive comeback. It did. It was like, wow, this is Call of Duty. We have an identity. We know what we're doing. This is cool. I cannot wait to see what happens next. It felt like they finally had a fresh start, fresh legs to continue from here. This was the launching point for something new going into the 2020s. And 6 years, 7 years later, Modern Warfare 2019 is still considered one of the best CODs, like modern CODs for the campaign and stuff. And that's a conversation that we have constantly here on the channel. Like we talk about other campaigns or other games, or even the games that came after MW19, like MW2 or MW3. And your guys' comments are always like, hey, you know what? Well, MW19 was so good. The franchise fell off and this and that. And some of you guys are talking, I think, because since we concentrate on the campaign, I think that's what you mean, like campaign-wise. And I agree. Like, I think the campaign for 2019 was fantastic, and I would have loved to see something similar continue in maybe 2 and 3. I like the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. I think some stuff could have been a little bit different, but I really did like that campaign a lot. And MW3 is just not even worth talking about. So, some people would also blame MW19 for the current design philosophy going on over on the multiplayer side of things, and kind of all the games feeling the same and stuff like that. So it's a give and a take, and that conversation has been happening over the last few days, over the last week, since Modern Warfare 2019 went on sale for $6. It has stirred up this massive conversation of like, it was really good or it was really shit. It was what saved Call of Duty or it was what actually destroyed Call of Duty and made it to what it is today with Warzone and everything concentrated on that. And it has valid points. Now, I don't want to get into those points because, like I said, I'm not like super knowledgeable about them. I only know about the campaign. So to me, every Call of Duty that has come out since MW19 is campaign only. Like, that's it. That's my fucking mindset. And I love 19. I love 2. 3 sucked. Cold War was fire. Black Ops 6 wasn't that good. Black Ops 7 was it was terrible. And so, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I look at it. I will say this, I have to credit Modern Warfare 2019 because without its campaign, I don't know that I would have ever came back to Call of Duty. I don't know if I would have ever really developed the love for the campaign and for the story and for the lore. It was their writing. It was how interesting they made these characters. It was how good they made Captain Price, how good they made Alex Keller. All of these things that gave me a reason to explore more, to enjoy these games more, to find out their story and find out their lore. And like I've said before, I know I don't just concentrate on Call of Duty here on the channel. We cover every single thing that I love in terms of gaming. Like when we have news about, for example, Tomb Raider come out, and when that starts ramping up, like maybe the whole week is only Tomb Raider, right? But and that happens sometimes. I love just gaming in general, but Call of Duty is a massive, massive, massive part of this channel, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. And I have to credit MW19 for really opening the doors for me to try to explore more, because that led to me going back and revisiting other campaigns or visiting campaigns for the first time, like Ghost, like Infinite Warfare, like Advanced Warfare, and falling in love with those and exploring their lore. And then it led me to buying MW2 to play the campaign and MW3 to play the campaign and Cold War to play the campaign. And now we've been playing the campaigns and covering the campaigns and loving them or hating them or talking about them, whatever the case is. And it all really stemmed from Modern Warfare 2019. So it really brought me back. And I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to tell you, hey, you know what, you got to like it or it's the best thing in the world. No, I just really like the campaign. And because of that, now I cover other campaigns and I have a good time doing it. So yeah, what do you think about the discourse surrounding Modern Warfare 2019 now and all of the stuff? Like, here are some facts. What do you think about them? Do you like them? Where do you think the franchise would have been without Modern Warfare 2019? Like, what if it would have gone in a different direction? Like, I don't know, so many different things going on. There's going to be a very big change to Call of Duty coming up very soon. New engine being introduced, I believe, in MW4. That was some of the reports. Maybe not. And then Call of Duty 2027 is going to be completely different. So that's going to be like a new era for Call of Duty, I think. So we might be reaching the end of what MW19 started. At least that's kind of what I hope. But in terms of the campaigns and everything, it was one of the best campaigns I've ever played. And it really set the standard, I think, for what a campaign in Call of Duty should be.